Hey everybody, my name is Chase Pipes and you're watching Chasing History, brought to you by Arrowheads.com and Smoky Mountain Relic Room. And we're doing a short little episode real quick because we want to show the importance of collecting dinosaur fossils. One of the things that people, especially people in the public, don't understand is that fossils aren't rare. There's a lot of fossils out there. There are literally right now tens of thousands of fossils laying exposed all across the world. And there's a battle going on. And the battle is to collect and to save these fossils before nature destroys them. You know, the fossils are more in jeopardy from the natural elements than it is from development or progress or people or anything. And this is a perfect example. And, well, let me just how rare are fossils?
They're really not. In certain layers, they're very common. You know, in different places, you know, we'll have different fossils. You'll have an area that'll have a lot of dinosaur bones. This formation has a lot of dinosaur bones. You know, up in the marine, you won't find dinosaur bones, but there'll be fossil shells, fossil corals, and those fossils are not rare there either. This formation's huge. It goes for hundreds of miles. There's dinosaur bones every 100 feet, 200 feet along this layer.
So 100 miles that way, 100 miles that way. And bones
every, I mean, well, you've seen just on the last few days out here with us that there's bones everywhere. They're weathering out. The problem you have is what bones are worth saving. It's not that they're rare, it's that there's so many bones, it's hard to sort out what is actually worth collecting. You find these bones that are like this, and you'll find them by seeing pieces of bone weathering out on the surface.
Yeah, come here guys, let me show you all real quick. Okay, I want you to check out this bone we've got right here. Now this is one
we found. You can see all these fragments. This was buried up with just this sticking out of the ground. So all this is already weathered away. The whole end of this bone is completely gone. This bone would have been almost 3 feet long. This part's completely gone. These pieces are weathering all the way down the hill into just, I mean, you can't do anything with that.
Right.
The very end was still fairly intact, enough that we could identify what species it was, what bone it was, and that's about all that's left.
What species was it?
This is a, oh shoot. This one's a hadrosaur.
Hadrosaur.
Yeah, this one is a hadrosaur. But but you can see there's not a lot left to it. You know, this is not a museum quality bone. There's literally truckloads of this. I mean, I could fill semi-trailer loads of pieces of bone if we were allowed to collect them all. Most places we're not allowed to collect them.
Now we're on a private.
We are on private
property right now,
so we can collect here.
Right, but there's a lot of great fossil sites that aren't on private property.
There's more on public lands than there is on private property.
Right.
What it is when they were homesteading the West, they picked the places that had the best grass, the best soil. They didn't like bad lands. I mean, it didn't do you much good to homestead a bad land. So those areas never got homesteaded and they stayed as public land. They never got bought up. They never got turned into ranches. And those are the areas that you can see the stuff weathering out of. And a public citizen can't touch anything vertebrate fossil on public land. Only a trained paleontologist with a permit can do so. So they don't, I mean, what are they going to do with this? I mean, they only have a very limited budget, a very limited space. You're not going to dedicate hundreds of museums to this.
To just stuff. But you know where that could make a huge difference is somebody out there, somebody like you guys out there watching right now. You know, if you're a parent or whatever and you've got a kid that loves the dinosaur movies or the cartoon shows or whatever, and they've got an interest in dinosaurs, there's only so much interest that you can get from watching it on TV or looking at a book. But, you know, if this would have been placed in the hand of a kid, that is more than any movie, any speech, any spiel, any trip, anything. For you to actually be able to touch and to hold a dinosaur fossil does more to inspire kids than anything in the world, you know? And that's where this stuff ought to go.
I have a list of 1,000 teachers that love this stuff. They want this stuff to show their students, to have their students actually look and see and understand. Because until you really hold it in your hand and you can see what it is, you don't really comprehend how the bone works, how the fossilization process works, I mean, you can see the marrow. You can see the skin on the bone. It's just like a bone you'd find today turned to stone.
Right.
There's a lot to still be learned from this and gained from this, and a lot of interest in the world and the outdoors just by, like you say, giving that to a child and let them interest, or a big child.
But getting more people excited about it, because here's the thing: is this exact scene right now is playing on all across the country there and all across the world. There are bones that are turning back into dirt. That is what nature wants to do. That's what the environment wants to do. Mother Nature is brutal, and what she is doing right now is she's eroding this hillside, tearing this mountain apart, and turning all these rocks, including this fossil, back into dirt. And you can literally see it right here. It's turning back into dirt. So when was this exposed? Has this been here for 10 years, 100 years?
The very end of it maybe was 20 years ago. This right here is just, the last year is exposed down this far. This, in another 3 to 5 years, there'd be no trace of this. You'd find a few fragments washed down the gully that would walk across and would try to chase up and see if we could find where they were coming from. There would be nothing there.
So 3 to 5 years is the lifespan of a bone like this.
Yeah, once it's exposed, it has a very short lifespan. The freeze thaw, the weather, the cows walking around.
Right.
There's a million things that will just tear this apart and break it down. It's just like every other rock out in the woods. The freeze thaw and the weather, it just erodes it down the mountains back into plains. That's the way it works.
That's what that's what nature's wanting to do. It's wanting to take the mountains and make them flat again by using gravity and water and wind erosion power. And these bones are caught in the mix. It's valuable. This is something that's not valuable to science.
No, there's nothing they can really learn from this. This is a well-known animal. It's not anything new. It's not a complete bone. There's nobody going to do anything with this. If you found this out on BLM land and called a paleontologist to come look at it, if you could get somebody to come look at it, they'd just go, yep, that's a dinosaur bone, and walk away, guaranteed. They're not all like that. Once in a while somebody calls and they find something really important, really cool, but 99.9% of them are going to just wash away.
And that's a shame when so much can be done with these bones. Just like we were saying, these bones in the hands of somebody starting out collecting or somebody starting to learn about fossils and paleontology, this bone could start someone's entire career, their entire life's path. So, I guess the point was
the thing that I always look at is this is investing in the future of paleontology.
Yeah.
Every kid that gets something like this in their hand and falls in love with this and learns about this is a future scientist, is a future researcher, is a future contributor to the museum. The people that contribute to those museums have a passion for this stuff. They're not the people that just have money and want to throw it away.
Right.
They had a reason that they liked that. And this is a good way to get those people to invest in the future.
That's right. The overall point that we're trying to make here, guys, is that the dinosaur bones, they're not rare. They are in the right spots. There are hundreds and thousands of bones pouring out, and something needs to be done with them. They don't need to turn back into dirt. So there needs to be some kind of program or some kind of thing to allow people to go out and to collect these bones before they get destroyed. I have
a good friend that puts together geologic kits for schools.
Yeah.
He cannot pick up a piece of dinosaur bone off public land to put in those kits. Why? What is stopping him from taking these fragments and teaching school kids? But academia and politics.
And that's the shame of it.
It is. There's a place, and there's a happy medium. You have to watch it because obviously people will go out and tear something up important. But at the same time, there can be a permitting process. There can be something allowing this stuff to be saved.
And if that's something you guys would be interested in, look further into it. Write your congressman. Ask them, why is there not a process, a permitting process where we could go out and collect these bones? This is something that you can do. All we're trying to do here is to just show you guys the reality of what's out there, and that this stuff isn't rare. It's out there and it's being destroyed, and something needs to be done about it. And that something is for them to be allowed to be collected. right now, you've only got private ranches, private property like what we're on right here. You know, but there's so much more land out there and so many more dinosaur bones that are being destroyed when they could do so much good. So, Ty, you got anything else to add?
No, just, I mean, if you do find something out while you're walking, I mean, it doesn't hurt to call.
Yeah.
I mean, always turn that stuff in. Always let the right people know, because you might find something new. But don't be disappointed if it's still there in 10 years or washed away and you watch it break up over time. It's, you know, it's enjoy the outdoors, enjoy the public lands. I mean, that's just great to go out and just walk around and just see this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
man, thank you very much for taking this time. I appreciate it. You guys remember to keep following us on Facebook, on YouTube, and we'll never, ever, ever be on Twitter. Twitter's evil. That's why. You know, how do you know where you're going unless you know where you've been? It's in studying and understanding the mistakes of the past that prevent the failures of the future. Don't let this be a mistake of the past or a failure of the future. Get out there and do something about this. Thanks, guys.